Hey there.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to Tea in Space. My name's Tom,
Yep, I'm Gordon. Hello.
and we're in space. Uh, I wanted to talk to you about a project that you're working on. I don't know anything about it, so this is uh, coming new to me, but I'm
Okay.
very interested in it. And can you tell us something about Medicine on Wheels? Is that correct?
Yep, it
Medicine
is.
on Wheels?
Yes. Yes. The Medicine in Wales began when I was in Ontario about just over a year and a half ago. and I met this young lady at a Wiccan Fest at Mansfield. And that's where I first met her. She continues to be in the movie business. And that struck an interest. And she attended one of my workshops. I was doing a tell your own story, traditional oral storytelling. And I was talking about how our body is. We need to project our voices in the theater, and this is our whole body is actually the stage. I went from that, and we went home. I went home. Then some time went by, and I just said, well, why don't I go visit you? Because she's only like 3 hours away on bike. So I said, okay. I went down, jumped on my bike, went down to Port Hope, and I went and visited with her. And I was like, wow, okay, this is a new person. But she's a wonderful person. She has a beautiful heart. Her husband's amazing and a cool kid. His name's Loki.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, okay. They have a recording studio in the basement. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. All hand built, bits and pieces all put together. So that really attracted me. I'm going, hmm. And then he showed me his handmade guitars. And I'm like, wow, you made all these? And going, yeah. I have a company called Disney Guitars, handmade custom guitars.
Beautiful.
Like, wow, that was very cool. And he brought one out and started playing it. I'm going, that sounds so cool. He has a steel guitar, handmade, and it sounds like that you would see in the front of Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. That
Yeah.
same kind of guitars sound beautiful. But some time went by, and my sister Miranda and I got talking about some of the issues that needed to be looked at. And I said, well, I have some stories. And I started talking about my own personal effects into the causes of what's happening with the missing and murdered Indigenous people, mainly women, across Canada. That put my mind into a state of where did that actually begin in the context of history? And I said, it never happened here. Has to do with the federal government of Canada. These are supposed to be the people that are supposed to be helping us. But in turn, it's the opposite around. They want to find a way to decimate us, get rid of us. So I'm like, whoa. I go, and I know a little bit about it, but I need to learn more about it. And I go, then it got me thinking about the skill sets that I have. A pipe carrier, Reiki, long distance biker, knowledge into the federal system, myself as an Indigenous Cree man, language, and all the different skill sets that I have. And I go, well, there's something starting to form here. And then she said, well, we need to do something about this. And I go, because my sister is very forward. She'll tell you, you're a freaking asshole, and this is why you're an asshole.
Oh, you got one of those too?
So I hit the road. I'm like, yeah, sister, I love it. I love that rawness about you. And she's really? I went, yeah, that's what I love about you. There's no bullshit. There's no strings attached. This is it. This is the rawness. That means we're not wasting any time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, oh, okay. We just carried on. That led us to thinking about the missing and murdered. And he says, what would it take for me to put a program together? Originally, I thought it was a big program, some kind of a ceremony that would honor our Indigenous people that have gone, because there's thousands. I mean, literally thousands that are in mounds of just dead bodies, and some of those people need to be honored, regardless of how they died. But we need to remember them.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking and going, well, I'm a long distance biker. I love biking. I have teachings. I have ways I can communicate to the spirit world. But I also need to equally do this right for our Indigenous people from tribe to tribe, from nation to nation, all across Canada. So I go, well, okay, that's going to take a little bit of doing. I don't know how I'm going to reach out to them. At that point, I was just an idea. So I started writing it down, putting it on my computer, and then some time went by, and I formulated more ideas. And then Miranda started asking me some questions, and that's where she said, well, and smiling said, well, let's call it Medicine on Wheels. And I went, that is too perfect. And that's how the original idea sparked. Then from that, we just started adding more and more content. And
Right.
Then said, well, we need to have a web page. We need to have ways of getting this out to the people. And that's when Facebook became a real time for people to actually check in and that. So she put together the original Medicine on Wheels page, and she showed me this Indigenous guy on a bike with a medicine wheel on the front and a dream catcher in the back. And there's this Indigenous man riding a bicycle going forward. So my brother Dennis, he's also a pipe carrier and the medicine helper to the people. And he saw this. He's a photographer and he's also an artist. And he took it upon himself to come up with an idea, a basic outline. He submitted it to us. It was perfect, and we were just like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" You can see it on, you'll see it on our logo. So, and everything just, it took on this natural energy, and we just kept feeding into Medicine on Wheels, and then more people started seeing this, and they're like, "Wow! So what are you actually going to do when you get to these mass grave sites?" And I go, "Well, we need to do this. We need to be culturally sensitive, because some of these people are still very raw, even though maybe 20 years have gone by, they're still traumatized here in their mind, in their hearts, and their spirits. So we need to be very careful not to be too aggressive. We need to be compassionate and listen and spend time with them. If their end decision is to say no, then we have to honor that and say thank you for your time. We're going to make sure you have your part is going to be deleted, and I'll get the forms to make sure that we're doing this legal. Make
Right.
sure that we're honoring your request. So just sign off here, and if you want us to continue, we'll just carry on. You've signed the agreement. I agreed to this, that we're going to use this segment only for this part of the documentary. So we just kept on moving forward, a little bit here, a little bit there. So here we are, many moons later, and lots of people are liking it. Like, got a lot of loves and hearts today and yesterday. And then my sister got talking about Ian Miracle, and he's a producer out of Toronto.
Okay.
And so there's also the opportunity. One is to pitch it to APTN as a way to get the message out to people, and the other is through Ian. He's a producer and a director, so he has a team. But he ended up coming out to BC, so we actually got disconnected for a short amount of time. But we put it back out there. Ian, we got to get on board. We got to get this done now. Netflix. I go, Netflix, for heaven's sakes, it would not be an awesome documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So then we got thinking about, well, who are going to be our tech team? We need a camera guy. We need an audio. We need cooks. We need people that are good with financing, or like this. Then the wheels started turning, literally turning, and as I was thinking about it, Miranda was already making it happen. I'm like, wow, she's like reading my mind, but she's a go-getter, man.
Yeah.
She's just like full
Is this
on.
the lady that friended me on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she has a beautiful red hair.
Right. Yes.
And she had a white top on. Yeah, that's Miranda.
Cool.
Yeah, you'll like her when you meet her.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. And that's the beginning of how Medicine on Wheels began. From an idea, from a feeling, to here we are. We're just looking for the right people to get behind it, to finance it.
It sounds like an ongoing process, though. Like, there's no shortage of stories, unfortunately, that you could, tap into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is this going to be an ongoing thing for you in the future? Because I know you got a lot on your plate now. You're doing some writing now, and things are opening up for you.
It would. I do want that to be a part of my life because our people are continue to suffer. Like our kids are going missing even today.
Yeah, I just posted. I think it was two just recently in the last week on my regular Facebook page,
Yep.
And every time I come across something like this, it's in our best interest to put the information out as
Yep.
much as possible. But yes, it's happening.
Yep.
And is there anything being done about it? So like, do you feel like the RCMP or the government or these entities that are in control of these things? Do you think that we can really rely on these people to help? Is there any hope?
Well, these are the people. These are the very people that are sourcing the genocide amongst Indigenous people.
Okay.
So, in some ways, they are being of help, but the ones we don't want to communicate are the ones who actually are enacting it. Like the federal government, like the court, are putting proceedings that they really don't need to because they did it way back in the 60s. The 60s scoop is a part of that.
Yeah.
The adoption of Indian Métis children, that's a part of it. And the people that we need to look to for responsibility, which they probably will never do. One is the people in England. The policing system, that's where it started from. They came over here with that system, which doesn't work.
No.
To begin with. The RCMP doesn't work here in Canada because our system of justice is different. We have an old traditional way of taking care of uncomfortable situations. So if somebody gets beaten up brutally, we just don't throw them in jail and say, okay, do your time and then go back out.
You take care of it as a community.
Yeah. Everybody brings it together and says, well, you have your chance to speak. And when you're done, then you pass the eagle feather and let him speak. And then we as the community will come together to right them wrong. And what one nation did, they adopted the person that was the perpetrator and adopted into his clan. And then he went and lived with them. So they both had the opportunity to see how they both grew up and how they ended up in the situation. Mm-hmm. So they worked backwards, forwards. And that was a great way of understanding why that brother, he punched him in the face. Brutally, killed his dog, So and then and that is justice in a very healthy, forward, empowering way. Not like today, somebody does something bad, they go to jail, they do the trial, and they figure out the reason why, but then it's up to that person after and says, not the healing, and that's your responsibility. If you want to heal, that's fine, and we're going to keep you in here for the next 3 years. And I go, oh my God, they're
with no retraining, no
exactly.
Psychological help, no one to talk to, no one to It's incredible. And then we expect people that have spent long periods of time in jail, and that goes for everybody who's in jail.
Right.
Happens especially in the United States. People are in jail for no reason for long periods of time. And now what? They come out of jail. They got no skills.
Yeah.
They're still in the same psychological state of mind, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So there's got to be. It's so flawed, the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a linear system, not a circular.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do full circle, you start here and you go all the way around and you finish. With a linear, you start here and you can stop and that we're done. But meanwhile, you need to go this furthermore to complete the full cycle. That's why things are done in Indigenous communities in a circle. That's why we hold hands together in a circle. And very powerful. You can't break it.
Right.
If you take one strand of hair, you can pull it apart, break it. But if you take it and you braid it, mind, body, spirit, and you try and it's impossible. You need 500 pounds to rip those pieces of hair apart.
Right.
That's a form of unity. It's a form of strength amongst our people. So that old traditional wisdom, it's still being lived today. Like I have long hair. Like one day I'll have 2 braids. 2 braids means that's one's for my wife and one's for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm single, so I do a single braid.
Well, there you go. You're single, so
Yeah, yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm also single, but I'm not looking.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, absolutely. So Medicine on Wheels it still continues to move forward, and we are still looking for people to um, bring their money forward to help us with this project.
And where can anybody send this money if they have any extra? Where can they get a hold of your organization?
Well, you can text us on Messenger on Facebook via Medicine on Wheels.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one way. And the other is to get a hold of either myself or Miranda directly via our emails.
Is there a Patreon kind of setup and any kind of?
There's no PayPal page or anything like that
No?
at the moment. If it becomes larger than life, then we will get a bank account, and for people, give them the bank account number, transition number, so they can directly deposit.
Right.
E-transfers, we can receive it e-transfers, email.
Perfect. Great.
So there's many ways today where we can receive funding through that way. And of course, you'll get a receipt, date stamp, so that you need that for your business, for your revenue, for the taxation at the end of the year. You'll get that money back. So
Right.
it's not like we're gonna take it and go, yeah, right on, let's go to the bar, right on, let's go see Def Leppard. No,
Yeah.
that's
No,
not
you're
what
not
it's,
going to do that.
that's not what it's for.
Okay.
That'd be cool if we get them to do a fundraiser for us. Hey, call up, hey, Joe Elliott, yeah, you doing? I'll see you at the beach in 20 minutes.
So is it just for people that are on wheels that can participate in this? How can people actually participate other than giving money and helping that way?
One of my thoughts is that I want to have, so let's say there's a youth group, say in Winnipeg, and they say, we want to bike with you. I have it in my mind to set up a van to carry, so the kids, they have their helmet, they have their gear, and they bike for 20 miles with us for 2 hours or 4 hours, however long it takes to cover the 20-mile. And they say, okay, I'm dead. I got to go home. I'm sleepy.
Right.
Well, I'm going to have a van as the carrier with a truck. So when they're done at the 20-mile mark, I'm going to give them a placard and saying, this is honoring, this is for you, and this is an eagle feather for you. And a picture, and we're going to, and then also there'll be a consent form that while they're under 16 of age, their parents or that the guardian, so their big brother would be the guardian.
Right.
Then they can ride with us, and that we'll have the van. So when they're done at the end of the ride, the van will then take them back to the home community, and we'll just carry on from there, like piggybacking as we go across Canada.
Right.
Larger groups, if you have bikes and that, you're old and ride with us as long as you want. If you want to bike with us the whole way, you're more than welcome.
Now, is there a time where you're going to start up again? You're going to get on the road, get on your bike, and get going again? Like it's a little cold out right now, and the snow's probably not conducive to biking.
Yeah. Well, there's only 4 months of the year which are really the best times of the year for biking anywhere in Canada. Like in May, you don't want to be up in the mountains in Revelstoke. There's still 4 feet of snow up there.
Right.
So we start at the end of April.
Right.
April, May, June. No, we'll be doing training in April and May. Then June rolls around. Then we hit the road. Like the middle, like June the 10th would be a great day. Everything's warm. There's no snow up in the mountains. A little bit left, and perfect time to get hit the road. Everything will be organized, days of riding, hours riding, food we need, cooks, medical people.
There's no shortage of things to do for a huge group of people. So
Exactly.
if you could think what a huge group of people need,
Yep.
You can volunteer in this way.
Yep. Yep.
Now I think, in Penticton, I know there's a huge biking industry here because of the triathlon.
Exactly.
And everything. The owner of this place is actually one of the best bikers, one of the fastest bikers in Penticton in this area.
Oh,
You
cool.
wouldn't know it because of his body type. This guy he's a brute, but he's got
wow.
stamina, man. Everybody
Excuse me.
drafts behind him, right? But they have bikers come here from all over the place during the summer. So
Yep.
yeah, interesting. Very, very awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about just yourself. I want to know a little bit of backstory about who you are, why you're in Penticton, because I know you're from somewhere else. You're French, right? And I'm not going to hold that against you, but you're a French person,
Yep,
right?
part French.
All right, okay, that's fine. I don't know why we're so hard on the French. I love French people. Matt, that we just met, he's a French guy, right? No, we're it's because we don't understand one another sometimes when we speak, and that's it's all unjust, right?
Right.
But tell me a little bit about yourself. And
Well, myself, I grew up in northern Lac La Roche. I'm Cree and French. I'm 80% Cree and 20% French. I grew up poor. I grew up very impoverished, and that's the way we grew up. We had a big family, 9 kids. Mom and dad spoke fluent Cree until I was 6.5. I was adopted in 1977 in a program the CAS put together called AIM, Indian Adoption of Indian and Métis Children, and that was we were broadcasted right across Canada. And I'm just a little kid, I'm in front of a camera. I got my little.
It's just you, no siblings?
Nope, just me. I was the only one adopted of the 9 kids. 2 of our sisters, when we've never heard from them, they were adopted and they were sent down into the United States. So I have no idea where they are. Maybe one day Creator will say, "Hey, that's your brother." What? The guy who did that movie? Yeah, that's your brother. Go call him. He won't turn you away. But I was adopted 77. I relocated to Peterborough, Ontario, which is where I moved in with my. They weren't my parents. They were more like buddies. The one guy, supposed to be my father, wasn't really a father. He was like this strange, post-traumatic, stressed-out warrior, and he didn't treat me very kindly, especially when I wouldn't come home at night. And for me, it became a game, but for him, it really peed him right off. I'm like, what? I'm trying to loosen you up here and put a grin on your face, but instead you want to beat me up. He would strap me, and I just went, oh, that's not fun. I'm going, why are you doing that? And I I didn't know how to speak English. I didn't know what he was telling me.
Right.
But what I did understand was the volume and the aggression in his voice. I was like, whoa.
Which speaks louder than the English that he speaks.
Yeah. So his lack of respect and towards me fell off very quickly. I started to hate his guts, and I just went, no, you're a bastard. You stay the hell away from me. And my best friend became Casey. He was half German Shepherd and half Husky.
Okay.
Great dog. Great dog. He was a gentle giant. We did our great adventures. And then 6 months later, my adopted parents, got a divorce, and I moved to Bridgenorth, about 9 miles out of Peterborough. I lived with the Fulfords, and I was brought up English. So my mannerisms of being, going from being a wild child, I was now being very responsible, able to wear suits, learning how to speak properly. They genuinely wanted me to do well, but I was failing in school because I couldn't understand grammar, my phonics, arithmetic. I didn't know any of it. I was completely illiterate. But my dad didn't understand that. He didn't see it as a barrier. He didn't see that at all. He was just willing to, I want to help you, but I don't know how to help you because I don't speak Cree. And in my little mind is thinking, you probably don't even know how to skin a moose, much less eat wild meat. And I'm going, you took me to this place called A&W. Whip-de-doo. A little fat guy on a little burger. I'm like, fries were cool. Good stuff. Ketchup, that was cool.
Yeah.
But that girl that came up on the wheels, that was really cool, man. Wow. And roller skates. Wow, that was really cool.
Oh, back in the day when they came and served you on
got
roller
it.
skates.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I missed that. I think I missed the tail end of remembering it. Anyways,
yeah. So, and those are things that I remember. Like I have a memory like an elephant. And so I stayed there until I was 19. People were starting to leave my life and die. My grandmother, Vandale, Letters dropped off, and I'm just like, what's going on? And then my caseworker told me she was gone. I'm going, where'd she go? I said, well, nobody's told you. I'm going, what? She's she's gone. Where'd she? Does what does that mean? I'm thinking to myself, and says, she's dead. Oh, oh no, that broke my heart.
So your caseworker was really close to you.
Yeah, yeah, very, very, very.
Was she there right from the beginning when you made that trip? Yeah.
Yeah, when I was adopted, 77 until I was 19.
Wow.
So she understood me on a level that no other caseworker understood me. One, that I needed a little extra attention, and that I had some special skills. Um, like I like to talk, but I wasn't willing to talk. I didn't talk at all until probably in my teens. I started to talk a little bit more, but I was still very skittish. I was still like, oh, I don't know if I should. Somebody might laugh at me. I was scared of rejection. All the insecurities as a child. And it didn't help that he had, broke skin one time when I was late. And that broke my back. And it broke my heart that my grandma was dead. And he didn't even say, I'm so sorry. He didn't even know how to talk to me. My mom didn't either. But my grandma became my surrogate mother, and my grandfather, my surrogate dad. They understood. But they couldn't console me. They didn't know how to do that. So instead, they'd take me up to the cottage and, feed me good food and make sure they just took care of my physical part. But they didn't know how to take care of my psychological or emotional traumas, because I didn't know how to express that.
Right.
And so they did their very best. And I'm very grateful to my grandma and grandpa for that. So when I was 19, I'd already been an alcoholic for 16 years of my life. I started when I was 10. That was the day when the camel broke my back, which is when I got strapped really hard. I just went, fuck you. You're an asshole. If I could, I'd kill you. I hate you that much. And he broke my back to humanity. I was close to going inside my head and becoming a psychotic killer, because I was hating humans.
Yeah.
The way he treated me. I just went. But what helped me to stay on this side of the fence was Casey. He'd walk up to me and just like give me a hug and say, it's going to be okay. And let's go for a walk, And Brutus, he was just Brutus as Brutus. And the cats, there was 12 cats in the house. So I was able to make it through. And I did with the alcoholism, but I wasn't willing to discuss my traumas because I didn't trust them. So I'd spend all my time in the bush growing up as a child. When I was 19, I left Bridge North on very bad terms with my parents. I didn't know how to talk about my fears still until I was later on, like 26 years old. But all through those times, there was many role models, both positive and negative. And I started listening a bit more and started gaining more trust with my circle of friends. And before I was 19, I actually died twice physically. I actually left my body and my spirit went to the spirit world. And that was the day that I knew that there was no heaven and then there was no hell, because there was no angel with wings standing there waiting.
Right.
There was no devil with a pitchfork going, I'm taking you to hell now. You're going to rot in hell. None of that existed.
So what was the experience that you had? What was the feeling that was expressed?
It was quieter than quiet. But it was equally, I'd never felt so secure and comfortable.
Yeah.
Because my spirit grandma and grandpa were over there. I was like, whoa, there's where you guys went. Wow, there you are. But they were equally upset that I was there. They said, you're not supposed, this is not your time. You go back, she said in Korean. And I went, oh, okay. I thought you were going to take me with you. And he says, no, this is not your time. My grandpa turned and says, it went like that. And I said, okay, I'll see you when I see you. And I went back into my body. Those are things that,
and this happened at what time in your life?
I was 19.
19.
Just about turned 20.
Both times?
Yep, within about 3 months apart. I went to my drug dealer to get some hash, and that was always good quality hash. He failed to tell me that it was laced with PCP the first time. The second was angel dust.
Oh,
So when I did my hot nose like I normally do,
yeah.
I do 10, then I stop for like an hour and a half, and I'll go do a couple more. But that usually was more than enough because my mom and dad would come home from work, and I would have supper ready and have the table set and sit down and have dinner and do my homework, and but that didn't happen. I was in the hospital. I can only imagine how scared they were that they found out I had died. And my brother and my sister went, "Oh my God!" And I go, "The hell I put them through." But that was the decision I'd made. But I told them um, what had happened and how I felt, and I said, "I hope you've learned your lesson." And I'm going, "I don't know if I can be there if you ever do die." And I'm going, "Don't do that again, please." I went, "I'll do my very best." You know. So when I left home for good. I never came back. I disassociated myself from people, and I was still very messed up and very angry with the world. It didn't. It took a long time to turn myself around to become a better person and look at myself, and I hit my bottom. My bottom was an emotional bottom. It wasn't in my head or my heart, and that's when it was my ex fiance. I woke up and I was already married to the bottle as an alcoholic, and I didn't trust myself to confide in her, and that's what she wanted, to be her husband. I wasn't willing to do it, so we broke up, and I went on the road with the circus, and um, yeah, when I was 29, I had a unique experience. 29, 25, 26. No, I was 26. Sorry, back it up. Got my years mixed up. I was asked to participate in a program through Canada World Youth in Toronto. It was an all-Indigenous program, and they eventually told me that I was one of the pinnacle people that was holding and gluing the group together. And I said, "Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this. I'm 26." And they went, "You know what? We talked to the executive director of the Canada World Youth, and we explained your situation, and he said we're gonna amend the rules so that you can participate." So they went in and they changed it from 25 to 26. Then they gave me the copy, and they went, "No way!" They went, "Yeah, you're very important to these young people. We want you on the team. We're doing everything we can, and you're doing everything you can to stay sober, stay clean, and be a leader." I was like, "Oh wow!" And that was also the year that all my record was expunged. All my crimes I'd ever done was gone. I was clean record. And I just went, "Oh my God." And that was also the same year that I found out I was AIDS free. I had no physical diseases. And I went, "Oh my God." I'm keeping myself clean. I'm also physically staying clean. This is my second chance.
Clean slate.
Yep. Completely clean. I'm going, who gets that opportunity? Who's watching out for me? Like, who's watching out? Somebody must really love me. So okay. And I know who those people are. I miss them. Um, so what they did was they gave me my passport. I had to fly from Canada down to Kentucky and go to Panama, exchange Panama, and then finally go to Quito, Ecuador. And yeah, I gave my all. Um, I don't mind. Crying tells me that these people mean a lot to me. I wish they were with me. If it means that I'm being weak, it would mean I'm being strong. But
There's no way that crying makes you weak. We both know this, right?
I know, yeah.
Yes.
But I also have to finish the story. You have, anyways, okay.
You take your time. This is not a rush. We don't rush here.
No.
This is tea and space.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you. So when I was in
Keep going.
When I was in Ecuador,
Yes.
Our program exchange was to help them to deal with the problem of garbage.
Yeah.
They didn't have a system like recycling and garbage bins here that we do in Canada. So we put together a program to help them to find steel bins with a lid on it, and we had to cut the top off, paint it, and put in spenual garbage only, and then we had to put together a system on how to pick it up once a week.
And this is in Ecuador, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we did that, and it ended up doing. We did an amazing job. Oh, good, thank you. And that was my first and only chance, and I didn't mess it up. I'm still in communication with some of those folks. So that was a major part of my life that I'm grateful. I'll never forget it. I came back to Canada, and then the next year I was hired to go over to Israel, and I went to Israel for almost 2 weeks.
Other side of the world.
Yeah, the other side of the world.
Other continent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what brought me to?
So go back up a little bit because I want to know what happened in Israel.
Oh, Israel.
Why were you in Israel?
Israel, I was being paid 250 shekels a week.
Shekels.
Shekels.
Okay,
Yeah.
they do exist.
Yeah.
All right.
To share cultural. So I was doing dancing every day, traditional dancing. I was also talking about why.
Good gig.
Yep. Yeah. In the middle of the afternoon, we jump in the pool and swim, and that was our day. We'd only be there for 3 hours because it's so brutal hot.
Right.
But yeah, that was our gig, was to share our culture, about what our regalia means and why we do this type of dance. And that was it every day, Monday to Friday. And,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I flew there first class. Like,
sweet.
Yeah, I just like, does it get any better than this? And I go, well, there's more to come.
And you're 26.
Yes.
Okay.
That's when I was 26. So I came back to Canada, and I went back to the Friendship Center, and I went back into my life.
The Friendship Center here at the Anokan Center?
Peterborough.
No, Peterborough. Sorry. All right, there you go.
So I'm in Peterborough, and I'm kind of like floundering around. I'm kind of, I need to do something here. And I was helping out volunteering, and I loved doing that, giving up my time. Then I went, and my friend Kiki Akiri, what's her name? Kiri. No, that's not. That's my Reiki student. But she was in Peterborough doing the employment. And I went and I set an appointment and said, I need to redo my resume. I want a job in construction. She said, oh, okay. Come on in next week and we'll revamp it. So I come in and sit down and we're talking. And she says, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. And so I started telling her, and I said, well, I like to write. And she says, oh, have you written anything? And I said, well, something, I think it's a poem. I said, do you mind if I read it? So I brought it in, and she read it and says, it's a little bit long, but it's there's something, you've got something here. And if you're interested, I'd like to introduce you to the Anokan Center in Penticton, British Columbia. I'm like, oh, where's that? I'm going, so it's on the other side of the mountains, just outside of Kelowna. I still don't know where it is. And I go, but it said, but she said, I'll call tomorrow and get them to ship me a brochure. I said, oh, great. 5 business days later, I get the brochure and everything. I'm going, this is the International School of Writing, and it's all Indigenous. And I'm going, oh, wow. And it says, well, and I'm thinking, when can I go? When can I go? I'm like, this will be great. I love traveling. I get to be in a different part of Canada. So I ended up jumping through the hoops with their help. I got to Penticton at the beginning of the summer, and I stayed here at the Beaumont. Is this the Beaumont?
The Beaumont Motel, yeah.
I stayed here at 243. I went to school for a year.
Awesome.
I went into the world of the Friendship Center. It used to be called Sounds.
Right.
And then I went back out into the workforce, and I became a janitor at the Anokan Center. And it was at the end of my school was going to be starting. So it was winter, and that next season was coming around. And they were actually giving out free scholarships for 2 years. And I'm thinking there, going, because I hadn't graduated yet. And I was wondering if that was ever going to happen. And I just, and I talked to my friend Tracy, and he says, yeah, sign up. We need 20 pictures and a dossier. and a synopsis of yourself. Well, okay, great. I went home, brought it back the next day, filled out the application, um, sent it in, and I was accepted. So I got a 2-year free scholarship, all paid.
Perfect.
I didn't have to pay nothing out of my pocket. My band paid for my food, my rent. Scholarship paid for all my books, tuition, art supplies, and
Beautiful.
so I was like, wow. And then I graduated that year with a 98% average in all my classes. And then after that, I was in fine arts. I'm an alumni member at the UVic in Victoria,
Yeah.
and that's what brought me back to Penticton. After I graduated, I moved to Duncan, stayed there, and then I did some. Had to go back home for my dad, Jack. He was his health was deteriorating, and then a year later he passed on, and then that was yeah. And then I had to do some more. Had to do something again. I had to figure out a new beginning. So I came back to Penticton. So I've been here and I just got back in October. Prior to that, I was helping my brother. Came back here, and here I am, talking about my little synopsis of my life, and going to be CEO of my own company called Easy Bird Productions, Medicine on Wheels, writing an autobiography. Continue to move forward and never give in and never give up. Everything, even the people in my life. I'm very grateful. Going to be, and it's going to get better and even more exciting.
So it's an interesting time in life. Like both of us are similar in age. I'm 48. You're what, 50 something? 52. So we kind of grew up in the same time period, but we're in the middle. We're middle aged, right?
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of advantages there. Unfortunately, right now, what I see with men of our age, especially if maybe the bottom has dropped out or whatever, a lot of people don't have the ability, much like you do, to recreate yourself all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they become marginalized, they become specialized in one thing, and now their specialty isn't worth anything, so now they're obsolete, right?
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
It does.
It doesn't matter if you're native or you're white, whatever kind of skin color you are, that's what happens, right?
Yep.
I say this, but my original thought was when you were in high school, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when the teachers, your parents didn't understand the complicated situation, you fall back in school,
Mm-hmm.
you get back so far, it's really impossible to catch up with the other students if you've fallen short, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cater to different ways of thinking for sure, right?
Yeah.
So people get lost, right? But,
Easy, yeah.
But the thing is that when you got into, when we went to the Anakin Center, got those 2 years, free, and 98% average. Here's the takeaway that I took away from just that little snippet. The takeaway is that you focus on something that you're interested in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you're given the opportunity to have a clean slate, and you're given that support system that that we all really need because we're social animals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lo and behold, you find a genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a genius. I know this. I'm talking to you. I realize this. There's so much more that we have to offer. And it's not like you're separate or better than anybody else, but it's just the fact is that genius in all its forms aren't recognized. It's only recognized in maybe a few forms,
Right.
a couple forms, maybe one form sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Which I think, would you say that this is a problem in the educational school system that we know of, right now today?
Mm-hmm. It is. Indigenous people learn different than white people by far. And I say that we learn in a circle. We also learn, we're very hands-on. So when we go to university and college or even public school, I loved it when we were drawing or making something with our hands. I always get an A+. But if you asked me to problem solve what's this algorithm, and what's the sign for pi? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what that looks like, much less what
Right.
it, if you showed me this, okay, I can draw it. Okay, I see the symbol, but how does this 0.39 point, then it goes on to infinity, that's pi. I go, and I like pi, but how does that have anything to do with my life?
Right.
As a creative being,
Yeah.
the creative process. And
Well, you say that there's a distinction between white people and native people and how they learn
yeah,
different. Could it be that we all learn the same, but let's say, for lack of a better word, the white population has settled for an education that is not even serving them? Is
yeah,
that a possibility?
it is. It is. It's a it's a doorway to other opportunities. That's what that graduation diploma means.
It's
And
only that. Just
yeah,
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 it's just a paper to say that That's
I
just.
exactly.
And so in the end, as far as I can gather, is that there's really no substance to it.
No,
There's no substance at all.
no.
It's a. I remember going to school, being in high school, and it's much like yourself, excelled in the arts and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the histories and the Englishes and the written arts, but the math and everything, I just fell behind, and it wasn't very interesting to me either. So you just
Excuse me. Yep.
forget it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
forgive me. Sometimes I miss my place. Take me back a little bit. What were we talking about? Just back to like
University.
okay,
Difference between indigenous and white learning.
yeah, okay. So there you go. Now, so I know I was lost in that setting, completely forgotten. I knew myself, but at the same time, I was alienated from everybody else, except for my close friends who were actually, highly educated, very good at that
Mm-hmm.
linear thinking, right?
Yep.
But with the exception of those people, I just felt like I was completely alienated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I convinced myself at that time that I was mentally disabled or mentally handicapped, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A retard at the time was
Right.
what we referred to it as, right? So, like, it's amazing how if you don't have the right setting, the right people that surround you, that you can the human mind can convince itself of anything, even though there's a genius inside of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's such a sad scenario, and we haven't fixed it,
No.
right? This hasn't been fixed. It's been recognized. All teachers realize it to some degree, but even the teachers that are a part of the school system, they're working
Yeah.
within a system that's broken.
Yeah.
But you can't think outside the box as a teacher. Even the good ones that want to make a difference, they're handcuffed because they have to stick with a certain curriculum,
Yep. Yep.
right?
That's right.
And so this curriculum is holding all of us back from really discovering like the new ideas, the things that propel us into the next phase, right?
Yep.
It seems like it's either pulling us completely back and we're regressing, or maybe we're kind of maintaining course, but the course was horrible to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's your solution to this? Do you think here I'm going to ask just a question that's a little more pointed.
Mm-hmm.
Is given that the school system is broken, I think we can both agree.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a need for an educational system when we have the internet, when we have, hopefully parents or family members that could teach? Do you
Yep. Well, I think there's there's a need for specific information for Indigenous people to learn in their own platform, because how we listen, how we interpret it, often it comes from our language, Our language is our identity of
Right.
who we are as Indigenous people. And the English language is very redundant. There's a lot of words that, like there, or over there, or where, or whether I know this. Oh, the weather is nice today. Well,
Or they are there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There's three
apostrophe,
different.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's three different types of theirs. But if you use it in the wrong context of your phonics or your grammar, and you go, oh, that's wrong. And I go, no, God. But in Cree, we'd say, yes, this stew needs to have this amount of sage, and we need a little pinch of salt and a little bit of sauerkraut. Perfect. That's it. Very simple. Very straightforward. We don't throw any extras in there. Go, oh, we need that in there and there. And the body goes, no, we don't need that. We have too much sodium. There's already enough sodium in the meat. It's already been tenderized. I'm going, we don't need any more. It's simple. Keep it simple. Don't make it complex. The mind already makes it complex, even though that's what I had to learn to train my brain to be as simple as possible. My brain always wanted to yak, and I had to physically say, shut up. What? No, I said, no, quiet. No, shut up.
It's good to know that there's another
surrender.
person out there that talks to themselves just as much as I talk to myself. So that's
Yeah.
encouraging. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Another takeaway that I
And I did, and I eventually retrained my brain to quiet it when it needs to be quiet.
Yeah.
And when it needs to listen, open it up like a parachute and learn as much as I can. Because what I need to learn and hear, I can if I'm talking. If I'm yakking, I'm not listening. So I had to learn how to quieten the mind, open up, and listen as if I'd never hear that ever again. That was such an important part.
Listen as if you haven't heard it before.
I would never hear it again.
Or,
So it'd be like I'd never hear this conversation between you and I ever again.
right.
So I'm going to remember it. I'm going to absorb as much of it as I can, and I'm going to remember it on my 4 levels: in my mind, my heart, my body, and my spirit. And then it's going to go into my feelings and my emotions and my senses. So and then I'm going to smell it. And every time I smell or I see this bottle, I'll go, oh yeah, okay. Now I remember it. Or this TV right here, the nuclear deal, I'm going to remember that. So I'm connecting a memory time in my head. So I'm going, okay, this is what happened. It could happen 50 years from now. I'll go, yeah, I remember when Tom and I sat down and we had a conversation. It was a great conversation. Do you remember what you said? I know exactly what I said. And then I go, how do you remember that? And I say, well, my senses, my 5 senses, remember that. I remember I cried hot tears. Those hot tears were for me, because I missed those people in my life. And Tom said, take as much time, don't rush. And then I was thinking, I'm not rushing.
Oh gosh. And then I laugh and I say, that's a hilarious joke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's how my memory wraps itself around a situation in life. So, just keep it simple. But the education system is that the system is set up not for Indigenous, it's set up for non-Indigenous. And how they learn, how they see it, how the information goes into their ears, through their eyes, and whether it's on the screen or in the computer. That's a way of understanding their language. But when I'm thinking, I want to learn this from the Cree perspective, it's going to be totally different. It's going to mean the exact same thing, but it's going to take on a whole new meaning, and it's going to have more impact as an Indigenous person because they're speaking language.
Right.
Go, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. And that makes it super simple. I think that's the best analogy I can give as to the difference between the 2 systems, and that they don't work in conjunction with each other. There's no unification there at all.
None.
They're actually oil and vinegar, and they work opposite each other. And that's the difference. So I think it's important that our people need to have our own individual learning system. And it is happening. Like my community, we have all Cree-speaking teachers. The Inalcan Centers is specifically it's all Indigenous. The profs are all Indigenous. The staff, the students, the elders that come in, our tutors, they're all Indigenous people. So and everybody there learned the exact same material, whether it's history, biology, math, fine arts, whatever it is. The teachers are teaching us through. So I had a.
Well, that history program is going to be completely different than what the
Oh yeah.
mainstream educational system
Yep.
teaches. Like even not just in relation to Indigenous people and everything that they've been through,
Right.
but like as far as like genealogies and time
Yeah. Oh,
passing
yeah.
and civilizations and
Oh,
how
yeah.
long, because like.
Yep.
I think when we were taught, it only went back to maybe 10,000 years tops, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when it all started, right?
Yeah.
But no, we're unearthing all sorts of different,
Hundreds of thousands of years.
yeah,
It goes way
hundreds
back.
of millions,
Yep.
millions. Some people,
Yep.
there's a case to be made for millions, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah, and they're still finding new discoveries in archaeology. New arrowheads and just phenomenal. That back to the time of when dinosaurs roamed the earth. How did they communicate back then? Well, they didn't have a language. They had grunts and groans, and they used their hands and sticks bang on the ground. I would love to have been there the first time they struck and made fire. It would have been an amazing day.
yeah.
Ooh.
Well, there's also an
Wow.
argument to be made that we were there, right? It's that's information that is all built into
Yep.
all of us because
Yep.
it's passed down, right?
Yep. So, and you can discover with today's what type of individual that was based on their bone marrow, their DNA. That blows me away. It's like, wow, I'm related to the caveman as you are, but over in Europe.
Yeah.
Or the Vikings. Just incredible. Technology has really helped us to uncover the furthest reaches of our minds, which we thought would never happen. It's happening today. Anything and everything is possible today. I'm grateful for technology. I use it as a tool to help people understand my creative process from my head, bring it into writings, acting, singing, digital storytelling, and helping other people to make it easier for them to use technology as well. So, it's just the process never ends.
Now, the Indigenous people, and all the friends that I have that are Indigenous,
Right.
they refer to themselves as Indians, but it's First Nations. So I don't care about the nomenclature. We're
Yeah.
all people, but.
Yeah.
The fact is that it seems that, and please correct me, I know you will, that the Indigenous population throughout the world, right, are the keepers of a certain knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And that knowledge is closely linked to the earth, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but also, the connection between everything, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now more than ever, in my small pea-sized brain that I have,
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's one of the things that we need the most
Mm-hmm.
today. We're like the tar sands in Alberta,
Yeah.
the pipelines, the quest for oil and profit and greed. First question: do you see? Because I come at it from a different perspective. I'm a bit of I wouldn't say a pessimist, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't think it could change. But there's no evidence to support that it's ever changed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in cycles, and it might be a 12,000-year cycle, whatever it is. I don't know. You would know maybe
Mm-hmm.
more than I
Right.
do.
Right.
Is there a way that humanity can get together your knowledge and teach it to people other than your group of people that have held this knowledge for so long?
Mm-hmm.
Can it be done? You probably can't answer that, but can it be done? And if it can, how are we going to bridge the gap? And is that necessary, or should we just wait for people to die off because they're going to kill themselves off anyways, because they usually do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they do. They
Yeah.
do. Well, there's you're going to get the certain population of the world that wants to make change, and they're the ones that will be able to assist. And then you get the ones who don't want to learn anything at all. They want to stay in the rut. They want to stay
Ignorance.
ignorant. They don't want. They don't want to get out of it. It's a habit. It's habitually wrong for them to change because their grandfathers did it all the way through. It's like the white supremacy, KKK. Um, they're still actively involved. There's a group in Merritt, not less than 200 miles from here.
Right here in Merritt, we got the KKK
Yep.
actively associated.
Burning crosses, wearing their masks,
Yeah.
and all that. And there's city council members that all gather from all different parts of British Columbia, the satellite. And I'd sat there and I went, "Oh my God, Vaughn, are you serious?" And they went, "Yeah, actually, I was there. I was sitting behind the bush and I was watching them. They covered it in kerosene, they lit it on fire, and they were dancing around it." I'm going, "Oh my God." And I'm going, I will never forget that.
Would you agree that there are some people that they've just gone so far down this path of hate, right?
Yeah.
That some people are just not redeemable?
Yeah, I think that it's true. They're, and that's not to say that when they die and they leave because their spirit leaves their body, they're going to go back up. They have to atone for everything that they've done in their lives. And Mishkikamakwe, Medicine Mother Earth, is going to receive the body. It's going to go back to dirt. But we are responsible for our actions. And those that don't think that karma is not going to get back at us when we're physically dead, you're dead wrong. You're more likely to get put under a microscope and say, you need to answer this before you, not the pearly gates, but before you go back to your homeland. I need to hear an answer from you. Mm-hmm. You're not leaving. You're going to stay in purgatory until I get an answer from you. Mm. Then they would say, "Oh, I actually don't have an answer." "Yes, you do. You would not be in this predicament if I did not know, because we've been watching you. We know everything you've done your entire life. We're spirits. We see everything you do." One of the things that Indigenous people we have are we have ancestors, old ones, that are anything from 100, like some of them are thousands of years old, but they watch.
This is separate from the spirit.
Like I have 12 ancestors that walk with me all the time. They watch over me. They protect me. They guide me. They make sure I go down the right road. They put me at danger. They go, "Oh, no. You're going over there. Okay, now you can go back there." And then they divert me from going down the wrong path. But sometimes my ego or my habits are so destructive that I'm blinded. I'm only seeing like a mouse. A mouse can only see what's in front of its nose. And an elder would say, "You need to stop being like a mouse and act like a hawk." And I say, "What do you mean?" "Well, a hawk, it flies way up here and it's able to see the whole situation. That's what you need to learn, is to be able to see everything. Right now you're a little mouse and you're going to bump into everything. You're lost." Mm. And I'm going, "Oh.
Good way of putting it."
Yeah, and I thought that was a very excellent analogy of spirituality, of knowledge, the passing on of knowledge, about how do we understand our own individual integrity in this world. And I go, it's something that's learned from our parents. Everything about us, our habits, how we act, how we see ourselves, our image, it all comes from learning lessons. Our grandparents would say, "Don't eat that berry, Gord." "Why?" It's a bad berry. You'll get sick." But curiosity, I'm going to kill a cat. And I'm going, oh, yeah, right. I'm not doing that again. That hurt. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
So learn by trial and error.
But you also had the guidance from the people around you that, most people just don't have.
Right.
It's a fact, right?
Yeah.
And like I'd never blame my parents or anything. It's a social cultural thing where parents of the generation when they were raising us had really nothing to do with their kids, teaching them. They've really given it up to the school systems and other systems to do that for them, which I think is a real shame. Not to shame anybody in particular for it, because it's a cultural thing, but we lost out.
Yep.
And we lost out, and we're all digging ourselves out of these holes because we form these patterns.
Yep.
And there's, patterns. Any pattern you know about patterns, and the patterns you need
Yep.
to have broken in your life. I have obviously had patterns as well that needed to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody, there's certain people that have deeper holes that they have to climb out of, right?
Yep.
And some people not as much. And I think in some way, in a lot of ways, if you've at an early age have had that guidance that's saying, okay, don't eat that berry.
Yep.
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 Maybe it might not be a good idea to, take on that particular fight.
Right. Yep.
Because it's not going to serve you well. And that kind of guidance.
Right.
All of us need, and even in the Indigenous community, I am sure that still needs to be reinforced, because I think they've lost it too. To some degree, obviously, we all have our holes that we need to dig out of.
Mm-hmm.
So my takeaway from this is that it's so important for us as a community, and it doesn't have to be necessarily your blood relations, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a saying, and I believe it's all my relations. Is this correct?
Yep.
All my relations.
Yep.
And I know some of it's kind of history because I was told, but it from what I gather, it means that we're all related.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So whether it doesn't matter what skin color you are, we're all related. All my relations, right?
Yep. We're all interconnected in some way.
So knowing this, then this is family, right?
Yep. Yep.
So the simple solution to this is just to be more connected with one another.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Why are we doing that?
Well, one thing I understand about being human is that we have a need to be listened to, cared for, understood, and validated. And we also need to find a way to also contribute in life. We need to find a way to find what makes us feel good,
right?
Give us confidence.
So we're not just saying get a job. It's like do what you're led to do.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I'm a traditional storyteller. I had to go through years of not knowing that. And then inside me, I love telling stories. It's not that people say, you talk a lot. And I'm going, I don't think I'm talking a lot. I think I'm sharing a story.
Right.
Story from my imagination. And we're talking about, say, patience. Why, and so why is a tortoise slower than a rabbit? And what does that have to do with anything?
And why does the tortoise always win at the end of the race?
Yeah, exactly. And so there's that deep meaning people sometimes miss because they're not actually listening to the context. First of all is the image of a turtle. We know a turtle goes really, really slow. But what we're missing is he's very steady, he's consistent, very focused,
methodical.
He's going forward. He's getting there. And he's taking his time. He's making sure he's getting there. He's not missing anything. Whereas the rabbit might miss all of it, but he's going, hey, I did it. I'm done. You lose. But creator's saying that wasn't the lesson. The lesson was about patience. And the rabbit said, well, he's banging his left thumpers going, well, I understand that now. Can I go back and do it again? No, you only had the one chance. And then the tortoise comes up and says, hey, all my relations. 2 minutes later, he's like, all my relations. And he keeps on going. And the rabbit says, oh, well, there he goes. Have a carrot on me. It's all in the context of how you understand what's in front of you. And all the information is given to you right there, everything. It's up to you to see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, and understand it in your mind. That how important is it in your life? Does it validate what you need for your tool bag? I call my life skill a tool bag of patience. And if I need patience, I will bring out more patience. If I need tolerance, I'll bring more tolerance. If I need more perseverance to help me to be more patient, then I need to bite my tongue and go, all my relations, this person is not listening. I need to walk away. I'm not going to get into a kerfuffle with this person because they're shut down. When I hear somebody say, I know, I'm going, our conversation's over. And they, well, what do you mean? You've told your brain, you know everything about this. So, and it takes an average of 10 minutes for the brain to come back to bringing the barrier down. So go have a smoke. Go do something different. We'll carry on. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Well, you doing? I told you that, but you weren't listening. I go, oh, okay, I'll go have a smoke. I'll see you in 10. Okay.
Patience is a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And also the other point that you were saying about simplicity, we tend to complicate things. All of us tend to complicate things way too much, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, where does in your particular culture, your upbringing, your being, where does silence fit into this topic?
Well, silence is very important. Silence gives you space. You need space to problem solve. You need space to listen. If you're yakking in your head, you're not listening. If you're self-talking, you're not listening. Listening it's actually, you have to train your brain to be still and quiet and be like a sponge and absorb as much as you can and be in a place of neutral. If you're in a state of neutral, you're able to absorb much more. And the other is opening up your ears and your mind combined and saying, I'm going to listen to everything as much as I can. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to listen. I'm going to zip it up, throw the key away, and listen. And sometimes I've heard an elder talk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And he's listened for almost 2.5 hours and listened to people talk about their lives and their traumas. And what blew me away is that at the end of that person handed that magazine feather to the last person and gave it back to him. He says, okay, everybody, take a 10-minute break and I'll come back and I'll have answers for each and every one of you. He started out with this person and said exactly what they were talking about. And then he gave him an answer about how to cure their ailment. He did that with every person in that circle.
Wow.
And that's what I said. I went, holy man, that guy is incredible. And he actually told that person, this is how you feel. You feel very inadequate. You don't feel like you're worthy of respect. You have to learn how to respect yourself. So go out and, go for a walk. Put some tobacco down and give thanks for life. It has to start somewhere. You have to learn how to respect your environment. And that's why Mother Nature is such an amazing teacher. When you're out there, she doesn't care if you're, a rock or an element. She is doing what she needs to do. She's been doing it for millions of years, and she doesn't really give a shit about you. But what she is, and she's giving you everything, the ability to listen. So somebody says, you got to listen to the wind. I go, well, why? There's a frequency that's going to teach you something about your humanity. You're missing out on how to listen. Listen to what's not being said. You're saying all this here, but this is really what you want to say.
The space between.
That's what we need to talk about. And that's what you have to learn. So, and I can't do that for you. You have to go into nature, go into meditative mode, be silent, quieten everything down, and meditate for the next 4 days.
Now,
wow.
Would you say that people in general, just in general view of humanity, that they are able to be in silence, or do they give themselves permission to do this? Like on average, what would you say the average would be? 80-20, 90-10?
Well, I've met a lot of, I surround my people. I surround my life with people who are a lot like me, who like to listen, who want to learn, and want to be a better person to help other people. So my circle of friends is very, very, very small, but they know how to listen. They also know how to help. They're helping people in their lives. So, and like I went over and I talked with my friend for less than 10 minutes, but I wanted to keep her in the loop, and she was listening to everything I said. And she says, "That's fantastic. I'm so happy you came by and gave me an update." Like,
Right.
um, and then I go back to the shelter, and I will never tell anybody my life there because they're not listening. They're listening to their own little playback tape, or they're strung out. They're like, I cannot have an intelligent conversation with the actual clients, but I can with the staff.
Right.
And I do, and I have a great time talking about life. Like
Yeah.
Bill and I talk about, yeah, it's good to be positive and happy, and it's also good to it frees yourself up. It allows you that opportunity to be, you're more aware of something coming at you if you're in an open stance. But if you're closed off, you might miss a valuable piece of information that might help you on your trail.
Yeah.
Or you might be helping them just simply by listening. The actual act of listening has helped so many people without giving any advice back to them. They just need that outlet to just go blah, and it's out. And they say, okay, I feel good now. Now I need to get rid of this. I need a new tool. I need to persevere. I say, well, go to a sweat lodge. What? You're going to persevere when you go to a sweat lodge.
Yeah.
You're going to, it'll shut you down, or you're going to be saying, oh, my relations, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're not going to be thinking about anything else. It's going to be so cold, so hot in there. And they go, but when you come out, you've expunged all the negativity and you sweated it out.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a rebirth. You're being reborn. You're letting all that gunk go.
You're coming out of the womb.
Yep, and you're putting all that poison and stuff that poisoned your mind into the grandfathers, and they're taking it back up to the universe, taking it away from you because you asked with your tobacco, your sema. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. How much I have learned. A lot of it's by trial and error, and I'm not repeating it again. I'm learning from it, and so I use it to help other people. And other people saying, like you said, and I go, my God, you're so full of knowledge. And I'm going, well, you needed that knowledge more than I did. I've acquired it. I've used it in my life, but now I'm passing it to you. You need it more than I do. I don't want anything for it. Really? No. Knowledge should be given away for free as much as possible. Free. Nothing. Because that may save your life. That piece of knowledge about perseverance or distant, or learning how to give a good punch or block. Those are things that are going to help you. Learn how to, listen to your own inner voice.
Problem is, man, today, today as in, the last 20, 30, 40, as long as I've been alive, essentially, the knowledge has been sold. It's sold for profit.
Yep.
It's like you can't use a piece of information that you've acquired from somebody else because there's an intellectual property.
Yep.
It's their intellectual property, right?
Yep.
It's like much like patents. Don't get me going on patents, right? But it's the same concept.
Yep.
How can you own a thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our sickness is directly linked, as well as other things, directly linked to this idea that you have to pay for this knowledge.
Yep.
So anytime it's hard for me to even I think that it's effective when you attach a dollar sign to it, right?
Yep.
Because, well, how can it be?
Mm-hmm.
Because greed, where greed is, it seems like true knowledge or truth can't be. They can't, oil and water, they can't coexist, right?
Yep.
It's a problem, man.
Not for me.
Not for you. No, it's a problem for humanity, for the
Yeah.
general populace, right?
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about the whole scheme of things. Like I'm trying to think wholly, as in like this is what we have. where there's 7.5 billion people on the earth.
Yeah.
How are we going to get together on these issues like climate change, like this, hunting for sport, things like that, things that just don't make any sense. That's just craving some kind of bloodlust that we have, right?
Yeah. There's I learned that the hard way, but I'm glad I did, because I've helped a lot of people. Like, people wanted to give me money. I go, you keep your money. I go, I don't require that. And okay, well, what can I give you? You already gave it to me. What was that? You said thank you. That's enough. That's all I require.
Thank you.
And they're like, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm going, if it's good, if it helps you on your way, then I've done my job. I'm not a materialistic person. I wasn't born that way. I was born to be a spiritual person, to help people, do what I can to help them on their way. And I go, and I love humanity, but sometimes they need a kick in the ass, worse than anything. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's one person at one time. That's how it's going to happen.
It's the only way it's going to happen if people go back into themselves. You can't tell somebody to do something, because it's not going to be done. You could tell them to do it, but it won't be done, right? Because anytime you tell somebody to do something, the hair on the back goes up, and they immediately put up the wall. So it doesn't work.
No, because you're doing this. You're shoving them. Yeah. You're forcing them. But if you say, I'm going to shove you back, and you land on the floor, and I'm going to give you $100. Hey, right on. Hit me as hard as you can. Right on. Thanks for the money. Yeah. I can use that. Let's go for lunch. Lunch is on me. Way of rewarding people, for me, it's super simple. Just a simple thank you. But other people need more reinforcement. They need more of a bigger bang to say, that's cool. I'm okay now. That's all good. Thanks for $100. And can I go to the res now? Sure. Okay, I'm going that way anyways. So now off you go. Because materialism and spirituality, they don't coincide. No. They're not a part of each other. No. There's a different lesson to be learned, and that's...
They can't coexist.
No. One is forever, and one is only temporarily. Yeah. Spirituality will always be here. Materialism will dissolve and go back to dirt. Then I can plant some more tobacco seeds, so I can pray more.
Yeah. That's where I want to be. So where I'm not doing anything anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do anything so that I can do all things.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so before we end off this episode of Tea in Space, and thank you so much. You're my first guest, and you're the best that I could ever imagine. Can you tell us? I know what you're doing right now, but if you can just tell us what you're working on right now, and then how we can support you in that.
Yep. I have a couple projects on the go right now. One is I'm working on Medicine on Wheels. Yep. So you know a little bit about that already.
So we talked about that, yeah. Yep.
The next is working on my autobiography of 400 pages. I'm going to have it on shelves by September of this year. Don't need help with that. That's already, have all the people lined up for that.
Perfect.
Then the last part is working on my film script. I'm working on page 37 now. I'm working on opening up my company, Easy Bird Productions. I have all the people lined up for that. I'll need marketing and lots of support and lots of people to get behind that. But when that happens, I'll be putting out a smoke signal saying, I need help. Yeah. Can you market this for me? I don't know how to market my material. I don't know anything about how to do my taxes at the end of the year. I know how to separate my personal from my business. And if I'm going to be putting the right person in the right place to do the right job and do it well and pay them to do that.
I got a feeling these people are going to come your way because people will gravitate towards you. I don't think you're going to have a problem formulating the best team. So you've done it before. You'll do it again. So thanks, man.
Yep. Hey, you're welcome.
So that was Tea in Space. Thanks for showing up. My name's Tom,
I'm Gordon.
and this has been Space. My battery's low, so I'm going to end it off here.
Okay.
Cool. Nice talk.
Yes, I really enjoyed that.